Hey guys, welcome back here to today's episode of The Fishing Teacher. Appreciate you guys coming by the channel to check out today's episode. And guys, today I want to have a foundational video, just a real basic 101 with some intermediate type tips and maybe even some advanced tips on treble hooks. As far as choosing the right treble hook for the lure that you're fishing. Treble hooks, guys, they come in a lot of different, styles and forms, and, the diameter of the treble hook's different. So we're going to go into everything like that. The diameter, the style, size of hook that you need to use, because from my experience, guys, that's one of the biggest things that people don't really understand fully is about having the right size of treble hook on their lures, because it has so much to do with getting the right action and getting strikes and hooking the fish and landing the fish. So we're going to get into that in today's video. And also, guys, we will be talking about treble hooks today, and my favorite treble hooks, which are the Gamakatsu G Finesse, guys. This Gamakatsu G Finesse treble hook, it was designed years ago by my buddy Aaron Martins for Gamakatsu. Pull one out here. And guys, this treble hook is absolutely the best treble hook that you can have. It's got an O'Shaughnessy bend on it, which hooks the fish a lot better. It's got a nano slick coat on it, needlepoint hook, super stiff, super light wire diameter. Absolutely the best treble hook. So I'll put my Gamakatsu G Finesse treble hook in my Tackle Warehouse link in this description if you guys would like to order some after the video. I've tried them all, and this is my favorite hook as far as not losing any fish or the things we're going to talk about. Okay, now how do you make this determination about the size of hook you want? Let's talk about hook size, to begin with a little bit. One of the things that I have seen that a lot of anglers make mistakes in is they usually have too big of a hook on their baits that they have. Now, when we're talking about treble hooks, we're talking about topwater lures, jerk baits, crank baits, that type of deal. Most of the time, they have too big of a hook. Now, the theory is by having a larger hook and pulling out here, if you have a larger hook like this, the theory is there's more bite gap, and it's stiffer, and if you get a point in the fish's mouth, they're not going to come out. But guys, this is not true. This is backwards, actually. You want to try to stay with the smallest hook you can get away with for penetration, because here's the thing. It's like losing a fish. When you hook a fish with a treble hook, one of the reasons that you lose a fish is a lot of times you're not penetrated to the barb. The penetration to the barb in the treble hook is what keeps the fish hooked. And if you have a larger hook, like a larger diameter treble hook, it makes penetration more difficult, because one of the things about it, let's say you make a long cast with a crankbait or topwater, like a 60 or 70 foot cast out there. When you set the hook on that, like with fluorocarbon or monofilament line, a little bit different with braid, but like with fluorocarbon line, at that distance, there's a lot of stretch in the line. And I can literally, guys, I could take this treble hook like this, and I could hold it, and you could get 70 foot away from me, and you set the hook as hard as you want to, and you will not pull that treble hook out of my fingers. You're not putting the force on the treble hook that you think you are from a distance. So let's say, for example, you're fishing a topwater, made a long cast with a Zara spook out there, and you got a pretty good sized treble hook on it. Fish bites it, you set the hook, and you think that you penetrated. You haven't penetrated. And what happens is maybe the point of that hook will get in the fish, but not the barb. That fish comes up and throws the bait, and that's how you lose it. So what you want to do is you want to try to use the smallest hook that you can use on any hard bait that you can get by with that is appropriate for that particular lure. You want to use the smallest hook you can get by with, and you want to use the smallest diameter, because if you go down in hook size and diameter size, your penetration is a lot easier. It's much easier. And I don't care how big the fish is or how small the treble hook is. You can take a little bitty treble hook, take this, here's a number 6, like a little bitty number 6 Gamakatsu G Finesse right here. You can take a 10-pound bass, guys, and if you get one barb of that hook into the point of that hook, you're not going to lose that fish. It's a stiff hook. It's not going to bend the hook. That fish isn't going to jump off and throw it. So your odds of getting that point, if you have a little number 6 like this, the odds of you getting that point penetrated past the barb is much greater than if you're using a big hook like this. The penetration is going to be 10 times more difficult. So that's one of the big things that you want to look at. It's like when you're deciding the size of treble hook that you want to put on your hard bait, look at the stock hook that comes with it. Now, for the most part, what you want to do is on a stock hook, you want to go down the next size, smaller. Now there's other companies like Megabass tends to have the hooks that are a little bit smaller. So a company like Megabass is different, but all the other companies that I've ever seen, big lure companies like Rapala, Strike King, they all have too big of hooks on there. Go down one size on the hook size that comes stock, and that usually gets you in the right direction. Now, in addition to landing more fish and not losing more fish by going to a smaller hook, you're also going to get more bites, because if you use a larger hook on any type of a bait that has wobble in action to it, I don't care if it's a jerk bait or if it's a crankbait or if it's a topwater, the heavier hook and the larger hook that you have on there, more it's going to impede the action. It's going to dull the action of that bait. And when you go to a lighter, smaller hook, your bait has more vibration, it has more action, it looks more lively in the water, so you generate more strikes with a larger hook. That's just a reality of the situation. Another thing with that is you don't have your hooks fouled. One big reason that people lose a lot of fish, and the biggest bass I ever lost in my entire life, this happened to me, is if you have too big of a hooks on them, especially that have longer shanks, a lot of times those hooks will cross each other and you don't know it. You can be working that crankbait and it may feel just a little bit different, but the hooks are fouled on it. And if the fish hits it with those hooks fouled, you're going to lose that fish. So by going to the smaller hook, you're not going to have that problem, with that situation. So that's the main thing that I want to talk about. It seems sort of counterintuitive. I understand that a lot of people, and I was the same way, guys. I always thought, I need to use the biggest treble hook that I can get by with. I thought like that for a decade until I started losing fish and started really trying to break down while I was losing them. And that's why it happened. And actually this happened by accident. In practice for tournaments, a lot of times I've got what's called a junk hook box. And these are hooks that maybe got some rust on them, or, oddball hooks that I've got here and there. And I don't care if I land the fish or not in practice. So a lot of times I'll put these junky hooks on in practice. And sometimes they're real small. It's like tiny, tiny hooks. And I started noticing, just goofing around in practice and tournaments, that when I put a smaller hook on, not only just my treble hooks, but like my worm hooks, I didn't lose as many fish. It seemed like I got more bites and landed more fish. So that got me to where, I go smaller now with treble hooks. And it's hard to do, guys. If you go down to a smaller hook, like on a jerk bait or something, or a crankbait, and you look at that thing and say, man, that hook looks a little bit too small for that bait. It's difficult to get beyond that, but guys, trust me on this. You're going to land more fish and you're going to get more bites if you just start downsizing that hook a little bit. So hope it helps out. We'll talk later.